Hi, folks. You are watching and listening to Sipping Off the Cuff on Tequila Aficionado Media, all of our channels and networks. I'm Mike Morales in the heartbeat of the San Gabriel Valley in Southern California. That gentleman out there is
Rick Levy at the ass end of the San Pasqual Valley in Southern California.
and both our asses are getting wet today, folks. It's gloomy and wet in Southern California. It's on when we're recording this, it's Oscar weekend. So if that means anything to anybody, I don't know.
Yeah.
Rick and
so you're gonna watch the fight?
Yeah, I'm gonna watch the fight. Yeah, is it pay-per-view this year? All of a sudden, I got that. I got a scene in my head from, remember the old Batman, where Adam West would go pow, and you crack. Crack. Anyway, folks, we're going to be watching and listening and eating and tasting La Tierra de Acre. This is the Tobala, and if you saw our Espadín review, I was very, very impressed with the quality, and the little details in here, the back of the label with the peacock, and everything you need to know is on the back of the label here. There's a picture of the plant. That's what a Tobala actually looks like, right? So it's a very informative and very well, it has to be.
It's a great label. It's a great label.
Very informative. Everything you need to know is on there. But we got lucky. We did get a little brochure. Rick got actually a whole bunch of brochures, but I think that's because Rick got his delivered by some cute gal, and I got mine dropped off by I don't know. Anyway, we broke open the seal on this one. I'm gonna pour mine again in a Stasso Jarrito. Is at 45 ABV, so I'm gonna pour it in a Mezcal Jarrito. I don't have to spill any on my keyboard because that can be dangerous. As Matt Metris has said, don't spill it on your keyboard. Yeah, he actually killed one of his computers. He spilled it on his keyboard.
I've killed a laptop that way too.
Have you? Yeah, I've been lucky. I haven't. I sit far enough away that when I spill it on myself, which is okay. That's all right, because you'll never see it. I could be sitting here in my underwear. All you see is my shirt up. So now the Espadín has some great legs and tiers. I'm not seeing anything from this Tobala right now. Now, Rick, I don't know about you.
For me, it's coating and hanging there. It's not. They're developing slowly.
Yeah, it's a really shy liquid. It's not. Maybe I need to just swirl it around a little bit more, perhaps. Lo tengo que agitar. I must agitate it in my glass. Yeah, let's see.
They're coming
there
down
they go.
Small and slow for me.
Yeah, the Espadín has some really thick legs and tiers. Now, again, folks, if you're wondering why we're looking at it like this, legs and tiers, they don't necessarily give you an idea of quality, but it's a good sign of what it's going to feel like in your mouth. So we're anticipating the mouth feel, and the clingy legs and tiers in a mezcal are better than what you would get in a aged spirit of any kind, because mezcals, by and large, I think the majority of them are not allowed to have any additives if that's a big deal for you. And this is an unaged, so it's considered a Tobala Joven, I suppose. Although they are aging, I think, is becoming more and more of a thing in mezcals, especially after Scorpion. They invented it. Scorpion Mezcal, they know what they're doing. I'm still hoarding the French Oak 7-year-old, bottle of mezcal. It's like, oh man, I'll never see that again, probably. Oh. Oh, wow. Are the notes brighter on this Tobala than it was in the Espadín?
Possibly. I'm not comparing it so much to the Espadin as trying to recall other Tobalas that I've had that they were more sweet and flowery on the nose.
Okay.
And this is not coming across that
No,
way.
it's coming across the same kind of depth. You know, the plant depth, the maybe baked agave, fibrousness that I like to call it. Because I think baked
Yeah,
agave is different in tequila than it is in mezcal. I think in mezcal it kind of leads toward the baked fibers that we get, because these are fermented with the fibers on top. So, you know,
I like it.
yeah, it
A lot of
smells.
times, a lot of times, you know, Tobala, for just my personal taste, it can be a little bit too sweet and flowery on the nose.
I was going to ask you what I know that it's for some people, the more mezcal folks that I get involved with and the more that I consult with, Tobala seems to be a lot of them, a lot of their jam. It's kind of like the natural progression from an Espadin, and they enjoy Tobalas. I was going to ask you if you did or not, or you know,
Yeah,
that's
you
why
know,
when
if it's I prefer Espadin to Tobala. I can appreciate the Tobala, but it's a little bit too perfumey for me, I think.
okay, I'll buy that. I agree. I think some of the Tobalas that you get, and I think that's why they're popular though, because they're more familiar to people that they're it's less wild to them. You know, it's like, oh, wait a minute, this is
Yeah,
kind of like I could wear this as cologne or something, right?
right, right.
Um, I want to
Yeah,
dive in. I want to dive in.
I'm digging it.
Yeah.
Mm.
Mm, 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 mm.
Oh,
You tell me what you got.
so
Wow.
it's like the Espadin, and it's the same maker. Um, it's it's on the thinner and drier side, but not as much as the Espadin was.
Right.
A little bit more sweetness, I think. And um, what am I getting in the flavor? I'm gonna go back in. You can fill us in on what you
I
think.
can fill in the dead air for those of you listening on the podcast on Spotify. I agree with your assessment at the beginning. This is again our first pass. I will say I got more sweetness on this than I did in the Espadin. I got it was funny because the nose had more plant depth, but on the flavor there was more fruitiness on there, more fruit. And you're right, a little
Right.
bit of the flowery as well, and that's kind of like on the tail end. But still, the finish dry. You're absolutely correct on that. It's a dry finish, and it's short to medium. It's not like a warm fuzzy or anything like that.
Yeah.
Um, but the
I'm trying to identify some of these flavors I'm getting though, which is hard for me to figure out. And it might be, so I'm cheating here and I'm looking at their notes and I'm thinking that you know, with it, you know, being a Hoven, I'm trying to think of, it's like, okay, is it citrus? Is it herbal? Is it whatnot? But they're mentioning here notes of chocolate and tobacco.
no
No?
chocolate and tobacco. No, not for me anyway. Chocolate and tobacco are technical. If I were to look for them in a tequila, I would get, you and I get those at the rear of the palate. You get a little bit of bitterness, a little bit of tobacco, a little bit of the chocolate you could almost get right away. I'm not getting chocolate. I'm getting more fruitiness, which is a surprise to me because I thought I would get it in the Espadin and I didn't get it. Here,
Hmm.
the nose is a lot of depth, but on the flavor, it's bright. And even the pepper is not a black pepper like it was with Espadin. It's a white pepper.
Yeah.
It's spicy, but it's not overpowering like the Espadin just lets you know it was there, right? This one's a little bit more refined. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying the pepper on this
But
one
you know
as
what else
well.
I'm getting? Now that I've had a couple of passes, it's almost like it's coating the palate like a chicken soup. It's kind of got
Oh,
like a pechuga kind of thing, but it's not. Pechugas will do that. It's almost like you're drinking chicken
yeah.
soup or ham
No,
soup or
totally.
whatever. Yeah, it's behaving like a pechuga. I don't even know if you make pechugas with Tobala. Why would you? I mean, you know.
That's so curious. But yeah, it was like this more, there's like this savory flavor that I'm trying to
Yes,
identify.
that's it. That's it. And you know what's interesting too is that when you say savory, now that brings back, it's been a while since Rick and I have done mezcals together, but when he says savory, I remember which ones were more savory. And I have had, for instance, I've had an 80 proof Tobala. Okay, this was at 45, so it's a little higher. But the 80 proof Tobala comes in like chicken soup. It's really savory. And there's nothing wrong with that. I actually dug it. So,
Yeah.
but I think at a higher ABV, you miss all the other notes. I mean, at a lower ABV, you miss all these other notes that it should accompany the plant.
Right.
Because it was really one-sided. I was kind of disappointed with that Tobala, because it came in at 80 proof, and all it was like I was drinking chicken soup. It was kind of soupy, savory, like a saute or when you saute stuff, like
Well, and
sauteed
on
mushrooms.
the idea of saute, though, I'm wondering, I might be getting more of a part of it. What was probably the roast from the agave.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I've not had a Tobala that was both fruity and savory. They're
Right.
either fruity and with a much higher bouquet, which is all the flowery aromas, or again the 80 proof Tobala. And again, why would you do that? But they did. Was really savory. I mean, like soup savory.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And
this has got both of them. Yeah,
I
and
agree with what you're saying about how it's refined.
yeah, and
There's
it's got a bit
there's a
more,
lot there, but there's this, there's a real elegance to it.
and it's got a bit more alcohol than the Espadin did. The Espadin, you couldn't hardly detect it, and this one's got just a little bit more into it.
Yeah. Although they're bottled at the same proof.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, salute to the maker, Honorato Cruz in Oaxaca.
Oh, wow. Brand promise nominee, folks.
Absolutely.
What a great finish, though. It doesn't have the warm fuzzy, but you're right. It finishes dry. And that's okay, too. Not everything that, not every mezcal's got to burn down your esophagus. Some of them, can be short to medium. But
Yeah.
there's a lot going on in this one. I'm digging it. You're right. I'm digging it because it's kind of like, so it's more of a well-balanced as opposed to one-sided or
Right.
the other.
Right.
Wow, man, that's outstanding.
Yeah. I really like this for a Tobala.
Let me just give you some of the ins and outs that we get off the label here. It is a silver medal winner in 2020 for the San Francisco World Spirits Competition. It is at 45 ABV. It is Tobala, wild harvested, 12 years old. That seems to be the deal. Copper pot still, and it's using a Tahona, of course. That means it's fermented with fibers. This is considered artisanal, so it's got to have fibers, but it can't have some metal touching it. But he continues to use a Tahona, so he doesn't use a shredder or anything. And it's Honorato Cruz from Santa Ana del Rio in Oaxaca. Outstanding. This is really, and I'm Rick, I don't know about you, but I'm really digging their logo, their look. I want to go in their packaging and go, yeah, brand of prom. I think for some of these,
yeah, they're packing a lot of creativity and useful information and elegance in a very simple packaging. They're really, they're taking it to the full extent.
Yeah,
you could take a packaging of this style, I think.
Yeah, and still make it, still give it a nice, elegant look.
Absolutely.
do we have a price point on this one, Rick, at all?
Yeah, so the Espadine came in at 45. They're recommending this one at 107.
Well, you know, it's a smaller plant, okay? Espadín,
Yeah,
it can be commercially
12
grown,
years.
12 years. And there is a, you know, as we've been reading now with the popularity of mezcal and all the other varietals, the other plants, yeah, there's a scarcity, you know, especially if it's
Yeah,
wild
wild
harvested. They got to
harvest.
go, yeah, they got to go further and further up. So hopefully, I don't know. Does this say, Rick, on their website? Are they doing anything for sustainability?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
The maker, to ensure the sustainability of the more rare Tobala, and Honorato allows 50% of the plants to reach full maturity in order to be pollinated by the local bat populations.
Oh,
So
right on.
that's 50%. That is amazing.
That's a lot.
But well, when you're relying on wild harvest, you know, you have to leave a bit more.
Yeah.
If you're farming like with the Weber agave, you know, it's like you leave 5 or 10%, and that's great.
Yeah.
Because you know you got all those pups and everything that you can clone.
Well, the Espadín is the same way too. What does the label say on the? Was the Espadín also wild harvested, or is that being commercially grown now?
I am not sure.
What would the bat?
It says harvest.
Okay, so we don't know where they're, you know, whether it's a wild harvest. We know the Tobala is. Some people are beginning to grow
Tobala says wild harvest, and okay, so the Espadín is a cultivated harvest.
Mm.
Yeah,
Wow.
so the Espadín is farmed, and
the Tobala, the more it opens up, Rick, on just that first pour, it gets sweeter. The sweetness starts to really shine through.
I noticed some of the floweriness had started to develop on the nose for me as it opened up. But yeah, I still really dig it as opposed to some of the more flowery Tobalas that I've had.
Yeah, or in my case, you know, that 80 proof Tobala, that was to me a waste of plant. But you know, it just made everything one-sided. So, you know, it didn't lend itself to the creativity of a cocktail because, you know, what are you going to put it in? A chicken soup, a tea? You know, I don't know. I'm not a mixologist. But I would imagine that the more notes that a plant has, the more creativity it lends to the mixologist who can play with it a little bit more.
It gives you more inspiration.
Right. So, you know, there you go. Brand of Promise nominee, folks. Stick with us. We got another 2 varietals coming. I can't wait to get into the other 2 because I think Rick and I have never done those 2 together, but we're going to. But anyway, that's our take on La Tierra de Acre Mezcal. And that is the Tobala expression. Stick with us. We've got 2 more. I'm Mike Morales here in Southern California, in the soggy Southern California of armpits here. And that gentleman out there is
Rick Levy, also in soggy Southern California.
You've been watching and listening to Sipping Off the Cuff on Tequila Aficionado Media, all of our channels and networks. Please subscribe, hit the notification bell if you're watching us on YouTube. Give us a like, share it with other mezcal nuts or tequila aficionados. And whatever you do, tomar sabiamente.
Sip wisely.